Hello, everyone. Welcome to the podcast. This is Dr. Fiott for DOXYVA, the industry-leading solution for improved circulation. Last week, I talked with you about DOXYVA and why it is such a life-changing technology for anyone who suffers from poor circulation. As it approaches FDA approval, I believe that this will be the game changer that amputation-prone diabetics have been praying for. And I believe that DOXYVA is poised to help prevent not just diabetics, but all people in poor circulatory health from getting to that point in the first place. A lot of people have suffered from amputation in the past because they did not have a device like DOXYVA to help them restore their circulation. So today I'll be answering some more of the common questions that the people at DOXYVA get from physicians, clinicians, and patients alike. This is going to be an eye-opening podcast just like last week. So let's start with the frequently asked question that is on everyone's mind, and that is, how soon will I see results? Well, before I give you a general timeline, I should remind you that all of us have different physiology and different environmental factors affecting our circulation. And everyone have different goals as well. Some people take it for general health and to improve their workouts and their sex life, whereas others take it for more critical reasons, such as reducing the likelihood of amputation due to wounds. So each patient will have a different experience, just like with any medical treatment or intervention. And I'll also note that DOXYVA starts working the very first time you take it. Literally, that very first time that you take DOXYVA, you'll be improving your circulation and preventing further health problems. So for noticeable, tangible results from chronic pain, the general timeline is roughly 7 to 10 days. That's it. Chronic pain reduction or elimination in literally 7 to 10 days with DOXYVA. It's like a miracle. Patients with very severe dysfunction or comorbidities, they may be on the higher end of that spectrum or maybe even longer, whereas people whose circumstances are less dire will likely enjoy their pain relief more quickly. For people who are not experiencing pain, but who want to enjoy improved capacity for exercise or for activities of daily living, for example, those people could notice very immediate results. In fact, we suggest that you take DOXYVA about 30 minutes prior to exercise to improve exercise capacity and performance. You could do the same if you were about to go on, say, a long hike, or even if you were going to go to the mall and be walking around for a long period of time. Taking DOXYVA prior is a really good way to go. Now, this brings us to the common question, how do I know that my circulation is improving with DOXYVA? Well, measuring your progress can be easily done right at home. You can simply use a pulse oximeter on your finger. If you don't know what that is, it's just a simple little lightweight device. It's non-invasive and you'll barely feel it. And you'll be able to see your perfusion index increase in only about a half hour or maybe an hour or so. It's a very quick process. So that way you know that DOXYVA is working for you. Now, people also ask about the clinical merit behind DOXYVA. Common question that people at DOXYVA get is really, what is the science? What is the evidence behind this? Well, I'm happy to tell you there is an abundance of clinical evidence supporting DOXYVA's benefits, but perhaps the greatest study that I can point you to is the one I also mentioned last week. It's called, let me give you this title slowly here, it's called Transdermal CO2 Increases Perfusion Index in Patients with Placenta Accreta Following Temporary Abdominal Aortic Cross Clamping. Now, I know that's a bit of a mouthful, but try Googling that or even just the first few words or so, and you will find a really great study. Again, I referenced it last week as well. If you haven't looked it up already, I suggest you do. It really gives some tremendous insight as to how this works, how DOXYVA is so beneficial for you. Now, additionally, evidence has been coming from 18 of the top 20 ranked U.S. universities by world-class medical scientists and doctors. There are over 24 exceptionally positive, high-profile pilot and pivotal studies, including randomized, placebo-controlled, double-blind studies that have yielded a decade-long record of 0 adverse event reports. So, look, I've been a clinical researcher for a very long time. As far as I'm concerned, even without yet being FDA approved, there's more than enough evidence for me to call this a very safe and very effective product. I look at it as this is something that is absolutely necessary, especially for people who are at risk for any kind of amputation. I think if you're in poor circulatory health, the evidence is overwhelming. Now, there are hundreds of thousands of radically successful applications in over 36 countries. So it's been used time and time again. Now, another question that the people at DOXYVA sometimes get asked is this FDA approved? As I mentioned, FDA approval is close, but it is not yet here. It is a lengthy process. And I spoke a bit about this in last week's podcast as well. But I'll recap by saying that DOXYVA has been in clinical trials for over a decade and that FDA approval is expected soon. So that's about it for this week, everyone. I hope you found this podcast to be helpful. In closing, please keep in mind that DOXYVA is fully self-administered and self-monitored. It not only helps with restoring normal function and to help close up ulcer wounds, but it is also an amazing way to relieve chronic pain and to improve your fitness, your sex drive, and your daily performance. Visit DOXYVA.com now to learn more firsthand. That's DOXYVA.com. I'll see you next week in another great podcast. Thanks, everyone.